Bringing down the general IQ in the room, I am your host, Peter Bryant, for the Con Men podcast, and I am talking with some very intelligent people here at the Emory University at the Atlanta Star Party. This is a pre-DragonCon event, so we're a couple miles from DragonCon, but it's not an official DragonCon event, but it's close enough. And I am here with Pamela and Nicole Gugliucci. So maybe y'all could talk a little bit about yourselves and what you do and what you're doing here. So we'll start with Pamela.
Well, we are two of the astronomers behind the Cosmoquest citizen science community, where we engage people in learning and doing science on a daily basis through the cosmoquest.org website. And tonight's event, which is a star party, is a star party in honor of an old friend, the blue-collar astronomer. And tonight, the funds from this charity event are going to help support Cosmoquest.
Excellent.
Yeah. So I joined on as Pamela's postdoc after grad school, and so I'm doing citizen science now and helping the project move along and do a lot of the education and outreach for the project.
Okay, so I know what citizen science is, but just in case somebody's watching, like, what are we talking about citizen science? What's that?
So that is anyone getting involved in scientific research in some way. And so there's a whole spectrum of activities you can get involved in. If you have a telescope and you're an amateur astronomer, you can get involved in variable star research or searching for comets and asteroids. What we do is we bring down some data from NASA, different NASA missions and make that publicly available with tools that anyone can use in a browser and actually help us map the surfaces of other worlds, of the moon, of Mercury, of asteroid Vesta. So anyone can take part in that data analysis and exploring new worlds and new data.
And the reality is that there's so much available data coming down from all of these different orbiting spacecraft that there aren't enough professional scientists to view every image and, well, help mark every feature. And we want to go out and walk on these worlds someday, and that means we need accurate maps to know where are the scientifically interesting locations, where are the places that it's safest to land a spacecraft, to perhaps build a future colony on the moon. And we've found that getting groups of everyday people sitting on their sofas mapping the moon, we get results just as accurate as we get when we ask a group of professionals to do the exact same task with the exact same tools, or even more expensive professional tools. So this is real, legitimate science for NASA getting done at our website.
Right, because you don't have to have a doctorate to be able to look at an image and say, hey, this looks like this.
Yeah.
The human brain is a very powerful tool, even in not a completely trained mind. So.
Yeah, it's much better. The human brain's still much better than the tools that we've tried to develop to do these things, to look for craters, to look for source selection. The computers only do so well, and the human brain is so much better. So we get lots of human power looking at all these images.
Right. So, Pamela, you do a little thing called the Astronomy Case, a little podcast that some people may have heard of.
It's kind of been around since 2006. I've been podcasting since the early days.
Right.
But it's co-hosted with Fraser Cain, who's the publisher of Universe Today, and we put out about 40 episodes a year covering all different topics in astronomy, and we try and help our audience understand not just what we know about the cosmos, but how we know it, so they understand the process that goes into the exploration we're doing of our universe.
So when people say, well, how can you know what's on another world? I mean, you say these worlds are here, and we've got exoplanets, but how's that possible? And then you guys explain.
We school them with science.
So I've listened to it many times, and I've noticed that you keep it on a level where you have to pay attention, and you might have to do a little bit of reading here and there, but it's mostly for the layman.
Yeah, our goal is anyone is capable of learning. And if we water down information, people aren't going to learn everything they're capable of.
Right.
So why water it down? We take the time to explain things so that anyone can understand it, but we don't dilute the content. It's all there so that everyday people can understand.
Yeah, I think it's pretty accessible. I mean, you have to kind of have an interest in it.
Yeah.
Of course. you know.
And occasionally we refer to past episodes rather than repeating details.
Right.
Interesting fact, around the time they started Astronomy Cast, I was a first-year grad student, and we stumbled upon it while studying for our qualifying exams. And so when we weren't hardcore studying, we would listen to the podcast because of Pamela's soothing voice. But it was still, you know, the stuff that we'd be tested on. And so even at that level, the graduate level, it was a study guide for me.
And one of the things that Fraser and I are never quite sure how to react to is we probably about once a week have someone say very sincerely, "I love your show. I go to sleep to it every night."
And voice.
So it puts you to sleep,
and,
right?
and it's just sort of like, why do we do the final 20 minutes of each episode?
It's like, thanks, your content put me to sleep every night.
Right. But they mean it so sincerely.
So, you guys, do you have things that you're doing at DragonCon as well?
Yes.
Yes, we both have pretty full schedules. So we brought our entire booth with us with the Cosmoquest Citizen Science Project. So we have computers where people can try out the software, where they can sign up, where they can get free NASA swag.
We're actually going to be mugging people with science.
Oh, yes.
we have a brand new app. It's available in the Android Play Store. Just Google Moon Mappers Play. And this app allows you to study just how gross some of the craters on the moon look and how amazingly beautiful some of them look. And along the way you'll earn badges, and well, it's a brand new app. It's only been there for a week, so people don't know about it yet.
Right.
So we're going to be walking up to people waiting in autograph lines, waiting in lines for sessions, looking bored, and we're going to say, "Hey, do you want a hit of science?"
Right. So I know you do stuff with Skepchick.
Mm-hmm.
And
yep.
Pamela, are you a Skepchick as well?
I
An
am
honorary
not.
Skepchick?
I've done many different Skepchick events, but I have to admit, while I'm involved in various aspects of the skeptical movement, I'm not officially a Skepchick or anything like that.
Well, since you're the Skepchick in the room,
Skepchick.
right? But let's talk a little bit about what skepticism is and
Mm-hmm.
how it pertains to science and what we're doing here and how it pertains to astronomy.
Sure.
Because I know a lot of people, they get this information and they don't know, like, well, how do you know that? You
Yeah.
know, and then they hear the word skeptic and they're like, well, what do you mean skeptic? I'm skeptical of this and that. You know. So what do you mean by skeptic?
So skeptic is someone that wants to understand why we know the things that we know and use science and critical thinking in all aspects of life. And so being able to apply that to your decisions about the food you eat or your health, and make sure that the best science information gets out there. And it also means understanding the ways in which your own brain can try and trick you, and understanding where your own perceptions come from.
Right. I found that a lot of times with the skeptical stuff, you know, it applies to everything, and you say, you know, well, science, you know, science, well, that's what test tubes and numbers and stuff. Like, no.
It's everything.
Science is everything.
Yeah,
You know, everything we do there's a science to it in some way or another.
Yeah.
One of my favorite moments was I have a horse, and this summer it rained a lot, and we had a big old pile of shavings that got wet, and I'm watching my barn manager scatter the shavings all up and down the cement aisle. And we got to talking about what I do, and he's like, well, I just don't understand why we spend so much money on science. And I'm like, well, everyone uses science. He's like, I don't use science. It's like, yes, right now, do you know why you're spreading the shavings all up and down the cement floor? And he's like, well, it'll dry faster. Yes, and that's science. It dries faster because you've created a greater surface area and is able to evaporate faster. And he just sort of did the head shake. But people inherently are scientists. They just don't use the language of it. And what we try to do, and what skepticism tries to do, is take the things that small children do. Try this, it doesn't work. Try this, it does work. That's science and engineering.
Right.
We try to indoctrinate them into the language, into the culture, and to making it part of everything they do, so they don't get wrapped up in the gossip that too often dominates life.
Right, yeah, that's a nice segue to you do, I know you both do outreach to schools and children and stuff, because children are natural scientists.
And this is Nicole.
Okay. This is
Hello.
more your department?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. She sends the little ones my way.
Okay.
Yeah, I was part of a program called Dark Skies Bright Kids in Virginia, where a bunch of astronomy grad students went out to local elementary schools and did hands-on science experiments, and we would specifically reward the kids for asking questions, not necessarily for answering our questions, but for asking good and interesting questions. Mm-hmm. So they'd get stickers and stuff for that. But yeah, the natural curiosity, the deep, insightful questions that come out of third graders is amazing. So I love working with students.
I see scientists as big kids, really.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because
totally.
they're still doing. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're being the kids going. Yeah. Well, why does that star blink?
I'm gonna poke this.
Right.
They just have a legitimate excuse to blow things up occasionally.
we get, well, not me. I'm not a scientist. I'm an engineer, but we get paid to blow things up.
Yeah.
Yes,
Exactly.
absolutely.
Excellent. So where can we find you? Where can we?
Around the con or
no, online.
Yeah.
Find the Cosmoquest.
Yeah.
Cosmoquest.org.
That's where we live.
And
So we're Cosmoquest.org. I'm at Starstrider, and
I'm Noisy Astronomer on Twitter. We're on Google Plus a lot, using Google Plus Hangouts on Air.
And you can find us on YouTube at Astrosphere Vids, where all of the podcasts, all of the hangouts. Nicole is one of the co-hosts of Learning Space. I do Astronomy Cast. Nicole's part of the weekly Space Hangout team. We do a lot of different stuff, so just check it all out, and all of it is linked off of Cosmoquest.org.
I want to do one real quick thing. Being scientists, being astronomers, what is the coolest thing that you've ever seen or done as an astronomer?
Oh.
I mean, if you had to pick one,
I think
make you pick
that,
favorites.
So my I love my job moment came while sitting on the top of a mountain in South Africa, where the South African Astronomical Observatory is located, and we stayed up all night watching the sky rotate, watching the disk of the Milky Way rise, and seeing the small and large Magellanic Clouds, and we saw zodiacal dust in the sky as sunrise was approaching. And as the sun came up, we realized we'd sat down for the night in the middle of a herd of springbok, and all of these deer-like creatures woke up and they're like checking out our camera, and it was a magical moment of taking in the sky and then just finding yourself in the middle of the wilds of Africa.
I would say anytime I've been able to climb inside a radio telescope. So my PhD was specifically building radio telescopes, doing radio astronomy. So climbing inside the dishes of the Very Large Array or up the Green Bank Telescope, because it's just so big and visceral and electronic and
Just cool stuff.
Yes. Just being on a telescope, being able to walk on the surface, carefully on the seams, but
Yeah, this from the person who's, thank God, not afraid of heights. I've done these things and I'm just clinging to the scope the whole time.
No, doesn't bother me.
All right, so make sure you check out Cosmoquest and Astronomy.
Astronomycast.com. Yeah, astronomy.com. Astronomycast.com.
Right, and you'll get all kinds of good stuff. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You've just enjoyed the MythWits. Join us for a live broadcast next week and every week, Mondays at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you miss our live show, you can always catch the encore episodes and the podcast version at our website and on iTunes. Make sure to check out our website at mythwits.com, and of course visit us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and iTunes. MythWits is a Studio187.com production and is protected under an attribution, non-commercial, no derivatives, Creative Commons work. You can download and share it with whoever you like. Just don't change it and don't try to make money with it. Make sure to check out Studio187.com for more cool stuff.